Exciting week for us, I think. Great challenge with Arizona coming in here, and we've struggled a little bit at home, as everybody knows, and so this is just going to be a great test. And we had a really good practice today. I think there's just a little bit of a different mindset. I think that we're reaching that point where we understand that the inconsistencies that we've shown have to go away, and the only way we're going to make them go away is to practice with maybe a different purpose than we have. Something has to change a little bit, and we've talked about that a lot. I think they're getting to the point where the repetition of what we do is starting to have a positive effect. So, but Saturday is going to be a game where we can't shoot ourselves in the foot. We've got to play more consistently. We've got to play better. We've got to eliminate costly penalties. We've got to tackle better. We've got to continue to do the things offensively that we've done the last 2 weeks, which we've been good, better protecting the passer. We've been good running the football. I think we were, over 300 the other day and close to over 200 the week before. But it should be an awesome game to be at. And they're an exciting team to watch play. And they sling it all over the place. They run it well. They play good defense, and we beat them the last 2 years, and so I'm sure that's on their mind. And we see that they're ranked number 14, and they're well deserved, and so that's on our mind. So I think it should be a tremendous game to watch. Hopefully that place is packed, and hopefully we can, like I said, when we lost to Oregon, we feel a responsibility to our fans, and so hopefully we can get that place filled up and give them something to stick around for and cheer for, and that's our objective.
Changes like you're talking about, is that more just on the players, or is that on the staff, or what kind of changes do you guys make as coaches, I guess?
To me, Ryan, it's not it's a mindset. It's a mindset change. It's not necessarily how we practice. It's a mindset. It's bearing down even more than we typically do. We practice well, we're focused, but it's now finding the next level. We've had repetition. We've been doing the same things, and so less tolerance for errors on the practice field. Trying to be perfect in practice, so when you get to the game, you can play a little bit more fearless. I think the way you build confidence and you build consistency is the way you meet and you practice. And so it's not necessarily changing structure that we do. It's altering the mindset, and that's what we're always doing that. But it's just, let's go. Okay, enough. I'm sure everybody out there watching this feels the same way. Enough. So, it'll be a great game. They're an excellent team, and we've got our work cut out for us, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So.
Is the approach one that you might have to take, like a playoff approach, that type of intensity?
You're trying to get me to say must win. I don't like that term, because I think that over the course of building your program, you want to try to treat everything the same. But this game, there's an enhanced sense of urgency. There must be, and there is. And I felt it today. I felt it in meetings. The important thing is that we continue to feel it through the course of the week, and then, we play well on Saturday.
That's careful wordplay. I like that.
You like that? I acknowledge the. Yeah. I'm learning. I'm good for sticking my mouth or foot in my mouth at least once a month, but I usually do okay.
I don't think we don't appreciate that.
Yeah, I know you do. Everybody does.
From a defensive standpoint, how do you attack Arizona's offense?
They're so versatile. The quarterback and the way they're structured. Every play they really have 3 options, sometimes 4. They got their handoff. He can pull it and run. He can pull it and throw it to a slant. He can pull it and throw it to a wheel. They are the epitome of a team that makes you defend the entire field on every single play. They're balanced 50-50 run pass. They don't give you tendencies. So I think it's about playing great technique. I think it's about doing what you do as well as you can do it, being locked in, making tackles, understanding that they're going to probably make a play, but you got to limit you got to put a Band-Aid on it quick. You got to limit the damage, and so that's what we're working hard at.
Does their running back depth, does that compare to Oregon a little bit, just with the 2 guys they kind of use pretty evenly?
Oh man, those 2 guys are really good, really good. Probably not as big in terms of height, but powerful, explosive runners. Just a great tandem. They're a really great tandem of backs. They've always had good backs, starting with Kadeem, since I've been here, Kadeem Carey, and now these guys. They're an impressive group.
How much has it made a difference for them to have a guy like Solomon step into that role?
Big. Yeah, because his mobility, his ability to throw the ball on the run, that makes that offense go. You know, the way Rich Rod has always designed his offenses is for a quarterback that can put your defense in conflict, and this guy can do it. You know, if he has a guy in the pocket that really isn't a run threat, his offense isn't as good as it is now, and he's got the pieces. He's done an amazing job of getting the pieces that he needs to operate the way he wants to operate, and they're doing it. I think they're in the top 10 in the country in total offense. So it'll be a great challenge for it. It'll be a great test.
How different is their 3-3-5 defense from any other defense that you face here?
It's different in the way they stem around and move. You know, there's only so many coverage concepts you can use, but some of the rush patterns are a little bit different. I don't think necessarily it's the scheme. They've got some really good players that make plays, and they're active. And I mean, you talk about a great effort defense, guys that run around and make plays. They're a great effort defense.
Has Paul kind of become the most consistent player in your offense?
Well, no. I mean, he is playing consistently, but I wouldn't say he's the most consistent. I think there's a number of guys doing a great job. I mean, you know, how can you overlook what Jordan Payton's doing? How can you overlook really the last couple weeks what Mossi's doing? You know, it's a short-term thing. Jake Brendel has been very consistent. You know, Brett has been extremely consistent. He didn't perform as well Saturday as he has, but over the course of the season, I mean, the guy's completing over 70% of his passes. But Paul has become extremely dependable, I'll tell you that. You know, he's so smooth, I think sometimes we don't give him enough credit for being powerful and explosive, because he does everything with just kind of this real ease of movement. It's fun to watch, man. And I think he's, 4 or 5 yards away from 1,000. And that's great, yeah. I'm happy for him.
Is there a different tenor on the offensive line this week just because, you know, Alex is back, Simon's back, and these guys don't necessarily have their spots set in stone, even though they're doing pretty well, I mean, so far?
Yeah, you know, we always want to create a competitive environment, and it's very competitive on the offensive line right now. You mentioned Alex and Simon, but don't forget, you know, Kenny Lacy has been playing very well, you know, when he's had to go in there. So I think there's enhanced competitiveness, but I think with that, they're more confident than they've been. They've had 2 games now where they've done a nice job protecting the passer. They've had a couple games now where they've had a season really where we've run the ball well. And so I think that there's a feeling of confidence in them. And I see it in practice, you know. That's the most committed group maybe I've ever been around in terms of spending extra time doing what they're doing. I mean, every spare moment they have, they're all packed into Adrian's room. I mean, it's like a sardine can in there, and you don't want to go in because it stinks. But they eat all their meals in there together. They hang out. I don't know what they're doing, but they're just always together. It's really neat to see them come together like that.
Is it nice just to finally have some depth and some options on the offensive line?
Yeah, I think we talked about it on Sunday night, is that at this point in the season, the last 2 years, it's been a war of attrition, especially on the offensive line. And this year, it seems like, I think Chris and Ryan said, you're getting some guys back. You know, so you're getting Simon. And I don't know that we're going to use Simon, you know, because here we are going into game 9 and he hasn't played, and you got to balance whether or not you redshirt him or use him. But getting Alex back, having Kenny Lacy play the way he's playing, even though Kawasi hasn't seen the field, what we see in practice with Kawasi, we're excited about him. So it's a completely different vibe than it's been in the last 2 years, where you're kind of hanging on for dear life. Now, I knock on wood that, you know, as we go through the end of the season, it continues that way.
Is it a tough situation when you have a guy like Alex who, you know, freshman All-American last year, and he comes back and it's like, well, not necessarily a spot here for you, and he was only out a few weeks. I mean, a guy steps into that. Is it hard when you have to deal with a guy saying that it's not necessarily here? But
it could be, but it's not with Alex because he hasn't made it hard. He just comes out and he fights and he works, and he hasn't you know, gone in the tank or griped or complained. His attitude's been outstanding. He's ready to play. We put him in for some plays the other day. But when you're playing well, you know, you don't want to necessarily change it too much just in terms of the personnel. But we know that he's there and he's ready to go. And he gives us flexibility because Malcolm can bump out to tackle if Alex wants to come in, if we have an issue. You know, we have Kenny. that can play. You know, if we have to move, you know, one of the, so it's helpful. We're in a better spot than we've ever been at that position right now. And like I said, let's stay that way.
Does the way Paul Perkins has been playing allow you to feel more comfortable using Miles Jack predominantly on the defensive end?
Yeah, I think that's a great observation. We go into every game with a plan to play Miles, or an idea that we're going to play Miles at running back. But when Paul and Jordan and Nate are running the way they are, it alleviates the need to do that. You know, last year we did it out of necessity, and I think anytime you ask a guy to double up and really put a burden on him like that, then you're going to take away from something, and we really don't want to take away from his development as a linebacker. The great thing is he's always ready and willing, and we do stick him in there, and when you put him in there, he's productive, you know. And I think we're all, especially me, I know for sure I'm kicking myself right in the butt for not giving him the ball on 4th and 1. I mean, it's like, my buddy says to me after the game, he goes, "Give the ball to Miles." And I go, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Give the ball to Miles." And I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, 4th and 1, just give the ball to Miles. I go, "Yeah, it's just way too easy, you know. I'm not smart enough." So he's fun to have on our team.
How's Thomas' hamstring?
He's better. I think he's got a shot to play. You know, I think it'll be a game time decision. One of those, you know,
One of those
right
game
up
time
to, yeah. We get 7:30, so we get those 7 extra hours to decide.
We've tracked tendencies on game time decisions.
How
by
have
the
I
way.
been? What are we at?
None of them have played.
Really well.
So we hear game time
Well,
decision.
What has helped us is the way Mossi has played in his presence, or in his absence, and Tyler Scott has really developed this year. Mossi played 80 plays the other day. Yeah, as a receiver. I don't know if you studied Paul Perkins' 92-yard run, but the block that Mossi and Jordan Payton put on those guys was unreal, to work in space like they did, and Mossi just plays that way. So, yeah, we miss Thomas, but having a guy like Mossi as a true freshman step up the way he has, it's a good deal. Okay?
Let's go.
All right, have a